First, let's look at why we have stress. The core reason that we have stress is because we have an expectation. We have a vision of how things should be. When they don't happen according to our vision, we become stressed. And in many cases, I know I speak for myself, raise your hand or let out a sign if I speak for you as well. We become stressed even before they don't fulfill our expectations. So it's not even that we wait until what we wanted didn't happen and then we get stressed, but it's the anticipation that it might not work out. So we're stressed even before the expectation hasn't been fulfilled. Extra stressed once it's not fulfilled. But we've created a situation where really, regardless of what happens, we're stressed. Even if it does work out the right way, God knows how many hours or days we already spent stressed before we say, phew, glad that worked out. But we don't wonder, oh my God, how many hours or days did I waste being stressed? Nor the next time something happens do we take a lesson from the past of, God, you know, things usually work out. Even if it doesn't work out in what I had anticipated or what I had expected, it works out for the best. But we don't take that lesson. And so what ends up happening is we live our lives in a constant state of sympathetic nervous system overload. We live our lives in a constant state, almost like a deer caught in headlights. The car hasn't hit it yet. Have most of you ever seen that? Do you know what I'm talking about? That look in the deer's eyes. And that's how so many of us live. So we've really been almost molded into a situation of stress. And the reason for that, in very, very short, is expectations, but expectations with an assumption of scarcity. This myth of scarcity, it's not even an assumption, it's a myth, a lie, is something that we are all being raised with and indoctrinated by. There is not enough happiness. There is not enough success. There is not enough love. There is not enough beauty. There is not enough worth. I am not enough. I don't have enough. I don't accomplish enough. I'm not deserving enough. I haven't achieved enough. It's a constant state of scarcity. And so we live in this state of stress. Now, what's the antidote to that? When we talk about yoga and we talk about it in a broader picture, in a broader way, what we recognize is that there's fullness. The mantra that we just began with, that Nandini chanted so beautifully, is a mantra that reminds us that the capital T, that, the universe, the divine that, is full and whole and complete. And that we, who have been created by that divine, are also whole and complete. The universe is abundant. And what yoga gives us, and again, we're not talking just asanas, we're talking about a philosophy of yoga, which is a philosophy of union. What it gives us is an experience of connecting to wholeness, connecting to fullness, connecting to abundance. And the minute that we can get out of the myth, of the lie of scarcity, the stress dissipates. The minute that we recognize that the universe provides. It provides for the tiniest little creatures, and it provides for us. And that there is, not only is there not a scarcity, but there is an overabundance of love, of success. There's no pie. There's no pie out of which pieces are being pulled. Whether it's pieces of success, whether it's pieces of happiness, whether it's pieces of self-worth. There's no way in which we are lacking. And when we are not lacking, when we are full, when we are whole, then there's nothing to be stressed about. And that's what yoga gives us, is a true experience when we talk about that union. A union with what? A union of our head to our knees? A union of my fingers to my toes? It's a union with that which is endless, with that which is boundless, with that which is the source of all of that which we want. So any time that we find ourselves stressed, it's a great practice. Anytime you find yourself stressed, stop and ask. Don't say to yourself, oh, don't be stressed. How many of you have ever calmed down or stopped being stressed because someone said, calm down? Anyone? Does it work? Has it ever worked? The only way to stop being stressed in the moment is to ask yourself, okay, what is the worst case scenario here? And to walk yourself through. Okay, let's take an example. Who wants to give me an example of something that stresses them out? Just a day-to-day, daily example, yes. That makes you stressed. Give me an example, yes. Okay, great. I'm driving to my job interview. My heart's racing. My palms are sweating. Why am I stressed? Now, thank you for being our volunteer. I'm just going to play with you for a moment. Why does it stress you out? And in this case, what do you want? Right. And why are you stressed? What worries you? And if you don't get it, right, we're stressed that I won't get it. And if I don't get it, then what? Well, if it's that easy, why are your palms sweating? Right. So that's the bright side. That's the once we've reached there. Until we reach there, why are you stressed? If you know you'll find something else. I mean, if we're sitting in a restaurant and we order something and the waiter says, I'm sorry, we're out of that. Our hearts don't race, our palms don't sweat. We just order something else. We understand it's not a big deal. But in this case, we're stressed. Why are we stressed? Because if we don't get the job, what does it mean? There's no right answer. Just what does it mean for you? Yes. We're not good enough. None of us in this room are at the risk of starvation in the next 48 or 72 hours or 2 weeks or even 2 months if we don't get a job that we're going on an interview for. Well, I say this even though we laugh because the normal stress response, the reason that we have it, is because our ancestors, long ago ancestors, if a tiger, a bear, came into their land, they were going to be killed. The stress response is what's also called the fight or flight nervous system. It's our sympathetic nervous system. You've got to either fight off an attacker or be able to run faster than the attacker. It's a great nervous system. It's fantastic for this. Mothers, you hear stories of 100-pound women lifting cars off their newborns. Well, how did they have the strength to do that? Because of the hormones that our body secretes when we're under stress. What's happened today is that our daily lives have become life or death situations. Not because, oh my God, if I don't get the job, there's no money, there's no food on the table, we're going to starve. But if I don't get it, I'm not good enough. What are my friends going to think? What's my family going to think? I'm not enough. And this is what leads to the stress. And if you take every time you're stressed and literally don't criticize yourself, as we've already realized, it doesn't work. Don't say to yourself, calm down. It doesn't work. Then you're just fighting. Then there's a part of you that's stressed and a part of you that's shouting at you to not be stressed. Instead, ask yourself, what is the worst case scenario? I don't get the job. I miss the flight. My kid's late for school. I don't get into this college. My kid doesn't get into this college. Whatever it is. Okay, well, so then what? And keep asking yourselves, and again, there's no right answer. There's going to be as many different answers as there are situations. But what you'll realize is the end result of all of those questions, and then what, and then what, and then what, is every one of them boils down to, I'm not enough. And then we realize it has nothing to do with the job. It has nothing to do with the flight. It has nothing to do with my kid being late to school or not getting into a college. And everything to do with our experience of ourselves. And then what we do is we take our focus, all this focus that is spent being stressed, and we put it into what I'm going to generally call yoga. Doesn't just mean the exercises, doesn't mean the breath, doesn't even just mean sitting in meditation, but it means the journey of union, the journey of inner connection, the journey of knowing who we really are on the inside. Because the minute that we are able to live as that mantra that we began with says, that we are full, and we are whole, and we are complete. And the only tragedy that can happen in our lives is that we don't live up to who we are. Because we're afraid, because we're stressed. I'm not going to do that. Oh my God, what will people think? I'm not going to even try. What if I fail? When we don't try, when we don't speak, when we don't step up to the plate of our own lives, that's the only tragedy. Striking out is not the tragedy. The tragedy is not stepping up to the plate.